Hiroo Onoda is often remembered as the last Japanese soldier to surrender, a man whose extraordinary endurance made him a symbol of bushido loyalty. But this framing overlooks a crucial detail. Onoda's war did not end in 1945 because he never received a lawful order to stop fighting, and his 30-year campaign was not merely a quixotic delusion, but a direct consequence of the orders he received and the psychological mechanism that kept him obeying them. His story is less about heroism and more about the terrifying power of indoctrination, the refusal to accept a reality that would render decades of sacrifice meaningless, and the unforgivable cost of that refusal to the people of Lubang Island. The saga began in December 1944, when Lieutenant Onoda was dispatched to Lubang with explicit and contradictory orders. He was to conduct guerrilla warfare and hold the island until the Imperial Army's return, but he was absolutely forbidden to die by his own hand or to surrender. This instruction, given at the elite Nakano Military School, directly contradicted the Shinjinkan Code that encouraged soldiers to die fighting, effectively isolating Onoda from his comrades who might have seen surrender as an option. He failed in his primary mission to destroy the airfield and pier, which fell to U.S. forces without resistance. This failure weighed heavily on him and likely fueled his subsequent determination to succeed in his secondary mission, to wage guerrilla warfare at all costs. When Japan surrendered in August 1945, leaflets were dropped on Lubang to inform the scattered troops. Onoda and his 3 remaining comrades dismissed them as enemy propaganda. Photos of family, letters, and even the amplified voices of his own brother and father calling him out of the jungle were interpreted as enemy tricks, Japanese prisoners forced to speak against their will. The psychological trap was complete. As Onoda later wrote, by 1959 he and his comrade Kozuka had developed so many fixed ideas that we were unable to understand anything that did not conform to them. To admit the war was over would be to admit that every year of hardship, every life taken, had been for nothing. The psychological cost of surrender was, in many ways, more terrifying than the physical danger of the jungle. The human cost of this delusion was staggering. Over nearly 3 decades, Onoda and his men attacked and killed approximately 30 Filipino civilians, whom they mistook for enemy soldiers. These were not combatants, but farmers tending their fields, villagers going about their lives. One by one, his comrades left the group, 1 surrendered, and 2 others were killed in clashes with local police, including Kozuka in 1972. Onoda remained alone, his commitment to his mission ironclad. It was a chance encounter in 1974 that finally broke the cycle. A young Japanese adventurer, Norio Suzuki, who was searching for Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the Yeti, found him in the jungle. Suzuki convinced Onoda that the war had indeed ended, but Onoda would only surrender if he received a direct order from his original commanding officer. The Japanese government facilitated the trip, and on March 9, 1974, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, now a retired bookseller, flew to Lubang and formally relieved Onoda of his duties. Onoda emerged from the jungle in his tattered uniform, presented his sword to President Ferdinand Marcos, and received a full pardon. Onoda returned to Japan a hero, but his story is a deeply uncomfortable one. It exposes the danger of absolute obedience and the blindness it can induce. It shows how a sense of duty, when stripped of all context and human compassion, can transform a man into a predator. The lessons of Onoda's 30-year war are not about samurai spirit, they are about the fragility of human conviction, the seductive power of denial, and the profound responsibility of those in command to ensure their orders do not become a prison for the men who follow them. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper. Hiroo Onoda's journey is a haunting reflection on the corrosive effects of indoctrination, spotlighting how a steadfast commitment to duty can twist the essence of humanity. As Onoda persisted in his belief that his mission was more than just a fight, it became an identity that overshadowed everything else. Each attack he led against perceived enemies reinforced his sense of purpose, even as the world around him changed irrevocably. The weight of his actions and their tragic misunderstanding has become a dark chapter in the history of war, urging us to contemplate the morality of absolute allegiance. Onoda's solitary struggle in the jungle illustrated a profound disconnect from reality, as he and his comrades became ensnared in their convictions. The